Thank you. Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Malta, Your Excellency, Mr. Secretary General, distinguished guests, graduates, we are greatly honored to have you here with us today on the occasion of this graduation ceremony of the IMO International Maritime Law Institute. I wish to invite the Institute's director, Professor Norman Martinez Gutierrez, to deliver the welcoming address. Professor Martinez.
Your Excellency, the President of Malta, Your Excellency, IMO Secretary General, honorable ministers, members of the IMLI governing bodies, excellencies, graduates, distinguished guests. It is my great pleasure and honor to welcome you to IMLI's 34th graduation ceremony, celebrating the academic success of our graduates. At the outset, I would like to thank His Excellency, the President of Malta, Dr. George Vella, who has always supported IMLI, and such is his belief in the Institute's mission that even in the midst of the pandemic, he made time to visit IMLI and deliver an online lecture to our students. I am also privileged to welcome His Excellency, Mr. Kita Klim, the IMO Secretary General and Chairman of the IMLI Governing Board, who despite his heavy commitments has graciously agreed to be with us today and preside over this ceremony, which marks a milestone in the academic life of our graduates. Secretary General, on behalf of the IMLI staff and students, I would like to take this opportunity to convey our deepest appreciation for the generous interest you continue to take in our work and the welfare of the Institute. I also wish to express my sincere appreciation to the Honorable Dr. Aaron Farrugia, Minister for Transport, Infrastructure and Capital Projects, Mr. Christopher Kutayar, Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Foreign and European Affairs and Trade, and Mr. Ivan Samut, Permanent Representative of Malta to the IMO, whose presence here today reflects the continuing commitment which the Government of Malta has extended to IMLI since its inception. I would also like to recognize the presence of Mr. Jim Harrison, Vice Chairman of the IMLI Governing Board, and Professor Dr. Marco Pavliha, member of the IMLI Governing Board, who have been involved with IMLI and its work for over 2 decades and have dedicated enormous time and efforts to serve the Institute. We shall honor them today by awarding them the degree of Doctor of Laws in International Maritime Law, honoris causa. The award of this degree is an expression of the Institute's appreciation for their tireless work towards IMLI, its graduates, and the international maritime community as a whole. We are also honored to welcome distinguished supporters of IMLI who have flown into Malta, even if it is for a few hours, to be with us on this important day. Distinguished guests, though this is my first year as director, I have had the privilege to work with over 24 generations of maritime professionals at IMLI. I must admit that at the end of each academic year, each graduating class has taken a piece of my heart with them. However, in return, they have filled it tenfold with memories of so many experiences shared. This class is no exception. And as we discussed with them recently, this was a year of firsts. It was the first class to receive in situ lectures after the pandemic. It was the first year for many members of staff in their current position, myself included. And I was so proud to see how everyone settled in their post and worked with the students to the best of their abilities. Considering that our state-of-the-art lecture hall was being refurbished, we had to repurpose some areas of the premises, which, thanks to the funding provided by the ITF Seafarers Trust, became 2 lecture halls, which for the first time made it possible to teach in a hybrid mode, thus enabling the Institute to expand its global outreach. Also, today, for the first time, we are broadcasting live this graduation ceremony through different online channels to allow family members, as well as persons who could not attend this graduation ceremony in person, to follow it virtually. Moreover, building on the highest academic requirements previously set at IMLI, this was the first class that had to defend their dissertations or research projects viva voce. Notwithstanding all this, the students of this class always showed motivation, determination, and dedication. Their hard work was evident when we saw their growth and transformation into maritime experts, who will no doubt become the maritime leaders of tomorrow. Through the IMLI training, the IMLI class of 2023 has demonstrated the capacity to think independently, to intellectually challenge the status quo for the benefit of all, and due to the family environment of the Institute, they enhance qualities of character which include tolerance, compassion, and empathy. As Professor Pavliha has said in the past, at IMLI, we do not only train minds, we also train hearts. Ladies and gentlemen, the world at large knows what IMLI does, but sometimes we tend to forget why the Institute was established. IMLI is a small institution with a global and unique mission. IMLI has indeed become the world center of excellence where maritime professionals are trained to serve the rule of international maritime law. Our main goal is to develop national legal expertise to advise governments on the incorporation and effective implementation of IMO conventions and prescriptions through national legislation. The successful delivery of the Institute's mission is reflected in the substantial contributions that IMLI graduates are making around the world. I wish to note that many graduates hold the highest positions in their respective countries, and I am always delighted to see the increasing number of graduates who are representing their countries at IMO. Since 1989, the Institute has trained over 1,500 students, mostly working for government agencies, particularly in maritime administrations, in over 150 states and territories worldwide. This, in turn, has led to a rise in the requests of IMO member states to have their finest officers admitted to the Institute's programs. From its modest beginnings, with circa 19 participants every year in the 1990s, IMLI has grown into welcoming the 2023 class, 53 members of which will graduate today from the Institute's master's programs. I am pleased to announce that this path to success will continue in the next academic year, as the Institute has received a large number of government-nominated applications for its master's programs. The Institute's contribution to the international maritime community has been repeatedly recognized by the General Assembly of the United Nations through its annual resolution on oceans and the law of the sea. I am proud to record that similar recognition has been received from numerous IMO bodies and other international organizations. This process, we feel, has consolidated IMLI's status as a renowned center for the training serving the rule of international maritime law. In fact, it gives me great joy to inform you that our Master of Humanities program in International Maritime Legislation, after a rigorous process of assessment, is now officially recognized by the Maltese authorities, paving the way for international recognition of the degree. The Institute is further strengthening its efforts to consolidate its academic reputation through the promotion of research, publications, and international seminars. In this respect, I am pleased to record that the Institute's latest publication is the book entitled Sea Level Change and Maritime Boundaries by Dr. Antoine Grima, which was published by Routledge on 23rd June under the book series IMLI Studies in International Maritime Law. Allow me to also inform you that IMLI expanded its further global outreach, especially through the delivery of its online specialized courses, in which, despite its limited resources, the Institute offers one free seat to each of the IMO member states. Ladies and gentlemen, a graduation like the one of today is an occasion for celebration, but it is also an occasion for gratitude. Allow me first to pay tribute to IMLI's founding fathers and all those who were involved in the setting up of the Institute in Malta. Their foresight and hard work constituted the cornerstone upon which the Institute was built. Throughout the years, we have lost some of our strongest supporters. And this year, I wish to pay tribute to Prince Bola Ajibola of Nigeria, who was instrumental in the development of IMLI in its early years. He acted as a member of the IMLI Governing Board and was indeed patron of the IMLI graduation ceremony in 1992. This was certainly before the time I joined IMLI, but as soon as I joined, I could see the effect of his hard work and contribution towards the work of the Institute. On a more personal note, I wish to pay tribute to another IMLI governor, who we lost a couple of weeks ago. Frank Wiswall was one of IMLI's greatest supporters. For many years, he contributed to the work of the Institute as a member of its IMLI Governing Board and as a member of the Institute's academic committee. Frank certainly, and no doubt, shaped the course on the history of maritime law and that of maritime legislation drafting. His lectures were extremely engaging, with him not only displaying vast academic knowledge, but also making use of his ample experience in the field. I do remember fondly how his wife, Libby, would attend every single one of his lectures and invariably used to ask the first question. And this actually get the discussion going. Frank will certainly be missed. Ladies and gentlemen, the Institute's success is also the result of the institutional links it maintains with many organizations. I wish to refer in particular to the Institute's institutional linkage with IMO, which provides it with substantial support. Secretary General, I am grateful to you for all the support you have given IMLI throughout your tenure as Secretary General and Chairman of the IMLI Governing Board. I believe that even in your first year, you had broken the record of most visits by any previous Secretary General to IMLI. Your commitment to the Institute's mission has been remarkable. I wish to record that through your intervention, the government of Korea has provided generous funding that will allow the Institute in the coming weeks to refurbish the student accommodation to offer a more comfortable working environment. My sincere appreciation goes to the IMO Technical Cooperation Division, which, through the Integrated Technical Cooperation Program, has enabled over the years access to quality training to over 200 government-nominated candidates who are now proudly serving their countries. Thanks to the assistance of the Director of the Technical Cooperation Division, Mr. Xiaoye Zhang, who is with us today, and officers of the division like Mr. Jonathan Pasht, Deputy Director of the Subdivision for Program Management and Coordination of the Technical Cooperation Division, also with us today, the Institute welcomed this year numerous officials, including IMO Division's directors, who deliver lectures within the extensive program of IMO's operational aspects, thereby giving our students a unique insight into the extensive work of the organization. I also wish to record with appreciation all the support received over the years from Mr. Frederick Kenny, who has provided the Institute throughout his tenure as Director of the IMO Legal Affairs and External Relations Divisions, particularly as a member of the IMLI Academic Committee. I am proud to record also that Dr. Dorota Losieminska, an IMLI graduate, has been appointed as his successor. None of the Institute's achievements would be possible without the support of our generous donors, who, so we thus express our gratitude to the government of Malta, which has hosted the Institute since its inception and continues to support its academic activities, including the construction of a state-of-the-art lecture hall, which we shall be inaugurating shortly. We are grateful also for our relationship with the Nippon Foundation, which over the past 20 years has produced a unique network of maritime professionals who are upholding the principles of IMLI and of the Nippon Foundation. We are proud of our relationship with the prestigious Lloyd's Register Foundation, which has over the years assisted IMLI through the funding of candidates and with which we are in discussions to further strengthen our bonds of cooperation. I would like to recognize the invaluable assistance of the ITF Seafarers Trust and its contribution to the training of government officials undertaking IMLI programs, as well as the generous donation for the audiovisual equipment set up in the current lecture halls. My sincere appreciation is also extended to the governments of Nigeria, of the Republic of Korea, of the Philippines, as well as the International Group of P&I Clubs and the International Chamber of Shipping for the generous funding which has enabled the studies of some excellent government officers. At this point, I would like to express my sincere appreciation for the sterling work of the Institute's resident faculty, Judge Professor David Attard, Professor Malgosia Fitzmaurice, Ms. Elda Casara-Belia, Dr. Sanjit Ruhal, Dr. Murat Sumer, Ms. Ramat Jallo, Dr. Rafael Prado, and I am very delighted to see amongst us Dr. Angeles Jimenez Garcia Carriazo, who has left us recently but contributed greatly to the initial part of this academic year. And I also wish to extend my sincere appreciation to the administrative staff for their unwavering support. We are also grateful to all the eminent scholars and practitioners from prestigious institutions from around the world who form part of IMLI's Distinguished Visiting Fellows programs. Distinguished guests, allow me to reserve my concluding remarks for today's graduates, as their accomplishments today are very important to us. Dear graduates, over the last academic year, from a group of strangers, you became a family. And together, you faced the challenges of what is perhaps the most rigorous program in international maritime law in the world. In fact, if in this joyous occasion you wonder what has been more important, the journey or the destination, you may be forgetting the most important of all, which is the company. You have forged bonds of friendship that in today's interconnected world, distance cannot break. On behalf of IMLI, I extend our sincere congratulations to you all. And today, that you're completing an important stage of your professional career and looking forward to the future, I wish to recall a story. Some of you may have heard it. If so, please imagine you have not, and indulge me and allow me to share it with you just the same. Once there was a wise old man. He was so wise he could answer any question anyone ever asked him, no matter how difficult. One day, two young people made a bet. One of them, who thought he knew more than anyone else, said to the other, I am going to fool that old man. I'll catch a bird and go to him and say, old man, what do I have in my hand? For sure he will not know. If, by any chance, he knows, I will ask him, is it alive or is it dead? If he tells me it's dead, I will let it fly and show him it's alive. If he tells me it's alive, I will crush it and show him it is dead. So they went to the old man's house, and the man arrogantly asked, old man, what do I have in my hands? And he looked at him and said, well, my son, you have a bird in your hands. And he smirked at the other gentleman, and he told him, okay, here it goes. Now tell me, is it dead or is it alive? The old man looked at him with tenderness, smiled, and said, my son, it is in your hands. You decide whether it lives or dies. Dear graduates, during this academic year, you acquired a substantial amount of knowledge in the whole spectrum of international maritime law. What happens here on forth is in your hands. Your participation in the IMLI programs is an opportunity granted to a few well-chosen professionals. And you have proven that our donors made the right choice. You have become exceptional representatives of the Institute, and I have no doubt that you will continue to serve as worthy ambassadors of IMLI by building upon our reputation for excellence. I congratulate you from the bottom of my heart, and I wish you all possible success in your respective professional careers. Please enjoy today and savor your success. You have worked hard for it, and certainly you deserve it. We are extremely proud of you. Thank you very much. Secretary General, Ms. Elda Casarabella will invite you to deliver the graduation address, but before doing so, my colleagues and I wanted to present you with a small token of our appreciation for all the wonderful support you have rendered to the Institute throughout your tenure as Secretary General and Chairman of the IMLI Governing Board.
Thank you, Director. Mr. President, George Vella, and honorable ministers, director, ambassadors, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Dear graduate, it is my great pleasure to return once again to Malta and address your graduation ceremony at this prestigious institute, which is very close to my heart. I'd like to extend my sincere appreciation to all who are here today for joining us on this very special occasion to celebrate the success of the IMLI 34th generation of future maritime leaders. In particular, I'd like to thank Mr. President for making your busy time for this event. I'm always heartened to see the graduates standing proud as they receive their degrees and bid their farewells to IMLI. So, As I look at all of you graduating in this year's class, I cannot help but to share your excitement and pride in what you have accomplished. You faced challenges, yet you persevered and achieved your goals. As Walter Elliott said, perseverance is not a long race. It is many short races, one after the other. You all ran many of those races, and with the help and support of all those who make IMNI a center of excellence in international maritime law, you leaned forward and crossed the finish line. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come together today to celebrate the success of all 53 of maritime professionals who will apply newly acquired skills to develop national legislative frameworks. I'm particularly pleased to congratulate the graduates from small island developing states and the least developed countries whose presence today bears testament to IMNI's uniqueness in providing quality training to all. I salute the female graduates who, through their participation in the IMNI programs, bring to reality the visionary policy adopted by IMNI to reserve 50% of the places for deserving women candidates. It is a fact that many of the Institute's female alumni are highly regarded in the maritime world and occupy important international or national positions, including IMO. One of our graduates of IMNI is at the moment the Chief of Staff of myself, Secretary General, at the same time Director of the Administration Division. So I'm very proud of your performance as a graduate of IMNI. Dear guests, allow me to also extend my gratitude to IMNI's founding fathers and all those who were involved in making the establishment of the Institute a reality. Just as the international community needed then a center of education on maritime legal matters and the adequate implementation of the International Maritime Instrument, we continue to need IMNI today and shall do so in the future. As the Institute entered in October 2023, the 35th year of service to the rule of international maritime law, I wish great success for the next 35 years. With this in mind, I'd like to express my deepest thanks and appreciation to Professor Attas, who has been at the IMNI's heart since the beginning, starting as a special advisor to the founding director and serving as an active teacher. He was appointed director of the Institute in 1992, starting 3 decades of dedicated services. His long stint at IMNI's helm has been instrumental in turning IMNI into the worldwide known center of academic excellences that it is today. Under his tenure, IMNI, through its education, training, and research agenda, has greatly contributed to the advancement of capacity building around the world, with an outstanding impact on the maritime world and on the IMO work. Thank you, Dr. Attas. I'd like to express my heartfelt appreciation to all government organizations, institutions, including ITF and the Royal Register Foundation, that provide assistance to the Institute to achieve its global mission. In particular, I must thank the Nippon Foundation, which provides invaluable fellowship support to this institute. I would also like to extend my sincere gratitude to the government of Malta and citizens who have hosted IMNI since its inception and supported it throughout its existence. I wish also to take this moment to especially thank Professor Norma Martinez, new director, whose passionate work will steer IMNI to a new era of positive changes. He and his academic and administrative staff have already turned challenges into opportunity and will lead IMNI to great height. I wish him every success. Dear graduates, allow me to reflect on the opportunities and responsibilities that lie ahead of you. I'm very convinced that you and every previous graduate of this fine university institute represent hope for our maritime community and our planet. You, the class of 2023, have been empowered through knowledge and skills to contribute effectively to the realization of IMO goals for a better world. You have had the privilege of being trained at the IMNI, a center of excellence for training specialists in the international maritime law and for disseminating knowledge and expertise in the field. So use the knowledge and you have received to kindle a fire inside you to serve the international maritime community in general and your countries in particular. As you turn a new page in the book of your professional career, think back to your first day of studies at the IMNI, when you pledged to serve the rule of international maritime law. You are now part of the wider IMO family and will be always recognized as holders of the degree from the institute whose contribution to IMO's capacity building is undisputed. Dear graduate, while you have been studying here, you have learned together and lived together. So you are gathered here not only as a graduate, but also as friends, competencies, and colleagues with experience both shared and personal. Keep hold of those ties that bind you. With your graduation day today, I welcome you to a formidable network of the IMNI alumni and also family of the IMO. I hope you will use your informal networks to support each other personally and professionally in the years to come. My wish for you is to continue flying high the IMNI's flag and that you advance further the goal of a sound ocean governance, protection of the marine environment, safe shipping and secure seas, and the decent working conditions for our seafarers. So this is my last attending official graduation ceremony. So my term is going to finish end of December. Except we had some challenges during COVID around 2.5 years. But at that time we had some virtual graduation. But I'm really proud of IMNI. Why? I traveled a lot except the COVID time. Traveled many countries. All IMNI graduates, each of graduates of IMNI are very well regarded, very highly appreciated, and proud of them, and good solidarity among themselves. It's a huge asset, not on IMNI, huge asset to the IMO, whole IMO community. So I'm very, very grateful to all the staff member, faculty member of the IMNI, and also full support of the government of Malta, in particularly grateful to each graduate of the IMNI. So you have to be proud of that. At the same time, we have been trying to enhance collaboration between IMNI and the World Maritime University. It has been, I believe, a big development in terms of collaboration and the combination of education training for achieving degrees. And soon, we have a new director of IMNI, and we have from yesterday new president of World Maritime University as well. So we are going to hold a policy strategy meeting soon in middle of July to enhance the academic advancement, and also in order to achieve more collaboration between two institutions. That's why I remind all graduates of that. You don't not only have enjoyed the network of the IMNI, but also as a member of a wider IMO family, enjoy collaboration and friendship with the WMU graduate as well. You use network IMNI, and also you use network of World Maritime University as well. With that, I will finish by congratulating you all on your graduation and wishing you every success and all the best for the future endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General. I now have the pleasure to invite Lieutenant Dagoberto Ramon Astudillo, a graduate from Argentina, to deliver the valedictory address on behalf of the IMLI class of 2023. Lieutenant Astudillo.
Your Excellency, Mr. President of Malta, Your Excellency, Secretary General of the International Maritime Organization, Director of the IMO International Maritime Law Institute, distinguished guests, fellow graduates, greetings to you all. Today we are gathered here to commemorate a significant achievement in our lives, our graduation from the IMO International Maritime Law Institute. This moment calls for reflection, gratitude, and a renewed commitment to the ideals that had guided us thus far. It is indeed an honor for me to deliver the valedictory address on behalf of the IMLI class 2022-2023. We stand on the shoulders of giants. These words hold deep significance as we acknowledge the remarkable impact of those who have helped us. Our parents, our families, friends, colleagues, professors, and countless others have paved the way for our success. Their unwavering belief in our abilities, constant support, and dedication to our growth has laid the foundation upon which we stand today. With our most gratitude, we recognize their contribution and express our sincere appreciation for their guidance. On behalf of the class of 2022-2023, I would like to thank all those who contribute to making IMLI an excellent and unique institution for their enthusiasm, kindness, empathy, and passion. At IMLI, we have the opportunity to connect with all the lecturers, residents, and visiting, and learn from their experience and knowledge with the reassurance that no man or woman was left behind. Director Professor Norman Martinez, your leadership is inspiring. Leading by example, you are not only planting trees for future generations, but also handing us seeds so that we pay forward. Judge Professor Attar, it has been a privilege to attend your lectures, learn from your experience, and have the opportunity of having you share with us the intricacies of the law of the sea. Ms. Velia, you are our champion. You believe in us even when we doubt ourselves. Your dedication and love for knowledge, the institution, and its values are an example and praiseworthy. Ms. Chalo, you have always offered us smiles and words of encouragement to keep us going. Dr. Sommer, Dr. Ruhal, you were always ready for responses and advice for our academic consultations. Dr. Prado, you were the new wind that helped us to maintain our safety cars. Dr. Jimenez, yes, Dr. Jimenez, you keep in touch with us, helping us in every way possible, which shows the love that you had for the Institute and its people. Ms. Riscova, Mr. Serri, Mr. Misfoot, Ms. Fernando, and all the administrative staff, thank you all for your constant support. You have the endurance and the patience of saints dealing with all of us during our most stressful days. We would like to thank the Maltese government and the people of Malta for their hospitality, the IMO and all the donors, sponsoring organizations, and the governments who are making it possible year after year that professionals of the entire world can gather here to gain knowledge in a cooperative way. I would also like to acknowledge the Student Representative Committee, Sarah, Gabriel, Gabriela, Shannon. It had been a great honor to serve as one of the student representatives with you all. To my wife, my mother, and my sister, I express my love and gratitude for all the love and support that they gave me. I would also like to use this opportunity to remember the loved ones we lost, who will have loved to share this day with us. We hold them dear in our hearts. I'm here because of my parents. They are my original giants, and I'm sure you also have original giants as well. They are the ones who push us, support us, and believe in us. Now, as we embark on the next phase of our journey, all the people that are part of IMLI in their own capacity are our new giants. Thank you for having our backs. Dear classmates, I stand here before you to say that I also believe in you. For the last months, I got the privilege of getting to know you at your highs and lows, but mostly your strengths. After discussions, debates, and shared stress, after laughter, drinks, and gatherings, we have the joy of calling each other colleagues and friends. Our time at IMLI has equipped us with the knowledge and skills to make a profound difference in the maritime industry and beyond. We must embrace the belief that we are capable of achieving greatness and contributing meaningfully to the world. Yes, the program was intense. The subjects were vast, and time, as well as breaks, are always a scarce commodity. However, we came together from all corners of our planet with the same objective, and together reached the final goal in the multicultural environment of study that IMLI has created, which is perfect for preparing us to take our next step in the maritime world with confidence and dedication. We have endured difficulties supporting each other with a meal, a talk, or just lending an ear because we are all in the same boat. We will hold dear in our hearts this experience for years to come. Today, we have the honor of becoming part of an alumni network that can help the development of maritime law, just like previous generations are doing today. Dear friends, you have shown me your loyalty. I will always be grateful for that. Throughout the academic year, we have exhaustive lectures and specialized studies of public and private international maritime law, reaching for a deeper understanding of the law of the sea, marine environmental law, shipping law, carriage of goods and passengers by sea, maritime claims, ocean governments, maritime safety and security, BB&J, and maritime autonomous surface ships, just to name a few, that have widened our knowledge and improved our love for the international rule of the law of the sea. Among the most relevant endeavors that we engage with the Institute are the dissertation and research project, and I'm sure that the work done by the 2022-2023 class will be of real use to our home governments and the maritime community in general. This is the first year that the dissertation and research projects were defended before a panel, a challenge on itself, which gave us the opportunity to discuss them further, reaching more confidence and authority in the topic. Our maritime legislation drafting projects give us the necessary skills to advise our home governments to ensure the incorporation and effective implementation of international instruments into domestic legislation. It is also worth noting that the moot court session and the presentations that we gave throughout the year will be an excellent tool of experience for each one of us. Now it is our duty to pay it forward, to extend a helping hand to others as we have been supported. As maritime law professionals, now we set sails to our ports of origin with the responsibility to make a positive impact on our home countries and society at large. Let us be servants of the rule of international maritime law, agents of positive change, advocates for justice, and champions of maritime safety, security, and sustainability. Our present success is not measured solely by personal achievements. Each one of us has the potential to become a giant on her own right. Let us strive to be compassionate leaders for future generations. Through our actions, we can help others to reach new heights. Class of 2022-2023, let us stand tall, united by our shared dedication and determination to make a lasting impact. Together, let us forge a future that honors the giants who believe in us and empowers the generations to come. Let me say it one more time. Long live IMLI. Congratulations, thank you, and enjoy.
Thank you, Lieutenant Astudillo. I would like to invite the director, Professor Norma Martinez, to guide the graduates through the solemn oath of allegiance to the IMO International Maritime Law Institute. Professor Martinez.
Graduates, I invite you to stand up and raise your right hand to take the solemn oath of allegiance to the IMO International Maritime Law Institute. Please repeat after me. I solemnly accept the academic title being conferred upon me. I promise to serve the rule of international maritime law to the best of my ability, displaying the highest standards of integrity at all times and in a responsible manner for the common good, in accordance with the rules of international law and of my country. Acknowledging that I am a graduate of the IMO International Maritime Law Institute, I hereby pledge myself steadfastly to abide by its laws and regulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director. Please, sir, if you could stay. Mr. Secretary General. Director, sir, I have the honor to present to you the members of the IMLI class of 2023. The members of the IMLI class of 2023 who have been awarded the degree of Master of Humanities in International Maritime Legislation are Lieutenant Colonel Ramzi Alani from Tunisia, Mr. Mohammed Ali Abdullah Al-Muhandes from Yemen, Mr. Abdul Hadi bin Nordin from Malaysia. Miss Hania Ahmed Mohammed Yehya El Qadi from Egypt. El sign Tania Nicole Hernandez Aranda from El Salvador. Miss Bunab Imen from Algeria. Miss Ngu Kei Kain from Myanmar. Commander Anup Padman Parotil from India. Mr. Boetse Abel Ramaglo from South Africa. What? Mr. Abdel Nasser Al-Arabi Ramadan from Libya. Mr. Wilson Salvador from Guinea-Bissau. Miss Masha Stampic from Montenegro. Mr. Zhang Zilin from China. the members of the IMLI class of 2023 who have been awarded the degree of Master of Laws in International Maritime Law are Mr. Abdullahi Mohammed Abdullahi from Somalia, Miss Salwa Mohammed Abdul Ghaffar Mohammed from Yemen, Miss Fatma Ali Abdurazak from Kenya, Mrs. Chidima Akumbu Agada from Nigeria, Miss Elisiva Vika Veyongo Kappa Itaipei Akawola from Tonga, Lieutenant Commander Alan Enrico Estipona Alano from the Philippines, Miss Alia Ihsan Al-Sayed from Iraq, Lieutenant Dagoberto Ramon Astudillo from Argentina, Lieutenant Marcio Alejandro Gutierrez Valderrama from Bolivia, Mr. Shannon Anthony Bethel from the Bahamas, Mr. Donald Leslie Brown from the Bahamas. Miss Sara Caruana from Malta. Lieutenant Commander Hazel Guldamae Castillo from the Philippines. Miss Gabriela Cepeda Olivares from Mexico. Mr. Jose Luis Contreras Silva from Mexico. Mr. Gabriel De Bono from Malta. Mr. Jonathan Arturia St. Aubin Dwyer from Jamaica. Lieutenant Fiona Elumba Regalado from the Philippines. Mr. Martin Maada George from Sierra Leone. Miss Jessica Hendra Hongo from Indonesia. Miss Emmanuelle Michelle Mary Hoaro from Seychelles. Mr. Erickson Okante Eye from Guinea-Bissau. Mr. Marcus Mohamed Kante from Seychelles. Miss Sharifa Abubakar Khamis from Tanzania. Miss Corina Ituaso Lafai Panapasi from Tuvalu. Mr. Jean-Marc Stanislas Mbimbi from the Republic of Congo. Put it on. Yes, of course. Mr. Mohammed Sheha Mohammed from Tanzania. Mr. Mohammed Mpochi from Tanzania. Miss Rebecca Cynthia Mutonyi from Uganda. Unfortunately, she couldn't attend the graduation ceremony. She will become a mom in the next couple of days, so she had to fly back to her home country on doctor's advice. But it is a great pleasure to call her name Mr. Raquel Naisanga from Uganda. Congratulations, Raquel. Miss Noor Elias Nohra from Lebanon. Miss Lilian Ama Saleo Gra from Ghana. Miss Mercy Afandi Orlando from Kenya. Miss Olufunmilola Oshadare from Nigeria. Mr. Abdi Adan Osman from Somalia. Miss Heaven Segei Sisei from Ethiopia. Miss Laura Ambespira from Kenya. Mr. Ashley Simiyu Toiwa from Kenya. Miss Rachel Cosmas Tuli from Tanzania. Take it, Rachel. You have to wear it. That's good. Perfect. Lieutenant Maria Riva Royo Villamor from the Philippines. We now come to the presentation of prizes. Thank you, Director. The first prize to be awarded is the IMO Secretary General's Prize for Best Dissertation, which will have the honor to be presented by Mr. Kitak Lim. The IMO Secretary General's Prize for Best Dissertation has been awarded to Lieutenant Fiona Elumba Regalado from the Philippines. Thank you, Mr. Lim. The second prize to be awarded is the Government of Malta Prize for the Best Maritime Legislation Drafting Project, which will be presented by the Honorable Dr. Aaron Farrugia, Malta's Minister for Transport, Infrastructure and Capital Projects. The Government of Malta Prize for the Best Maritime Legislation Drafting Project has been awarded to Miss Lilian Amasaleo Gra from Ghana. Thank you, Honorable Minister. I now turn to Professor David Attard Prize for Best Performance in the Law of the Sea, which will be presented by Judge Professor David Attard. Professor David Attard Prize for Best Performance in the Law of the Sea has been awarded to Mr. Abdel Nasser Al-Arabi Ramadan from Libya. Thank you, Professor Attard. The next prize to be awarded is the Transport Malta Prize for Best Performance in Shipping Law, to be presented by Mr. Ivan Samut, Registrar General of Shipping and Seamen and Permanent Representative of Malta to IMO. Mr. Samut, thank you. The Transport Malta Prize for Best Performance in Shipping Law has been awarded to Miss Alia Hissan Al-Sayek from Iraq. Thank you, Mr. Samut. The next prize to be awarded is the Sasakawa Prize for the Best Performing Nippon Foundation Scholar. And if you allow me, I would greatly appreciate if Mr. Frederick Kenny could come to present the prize. Thank you so much, sir. The Sasakawa Prize for the Best Performing Nippon Foundation Scholar has been awarded to Mr. Martin Maada George from Sierra Leone. That way. Thank you very much, Mr. Kenny. I now turn to the Lloyd's Register Foundation Prize for the Best Performing Lloyd's Register Foundation Scholar, which will be presented by Mr. Jim Harrison, Vice Chairman of the IMLI Governing Board. Mr. Harrison. Thank you so much, sir. The Lloyd's Register Foundation Prize for the Best Performing Lloyd's Register Foundation Scholar has been awarded to Miss Ngu Kei Kain from Myanmar. He came late. Thank you, Mr. Harrison. The next prize to be awarded is Dr. Kofi Mbia's Prize for the Best Performing African Scholar. And if you allow me, I would like to invite Minister Dr. Stefan Zrinzo Azopadi, Minister for Public Works and Planning, to present the prize. Honorable Minister. Dr. Kofi Mbia's Prize for the Best Performing African Scholar has been awarded to Mr. Mohamed Mpochi from Tanzania. Thank you, Honorable Minister. I now turn to the ITF Seafarers Trust Prize on Seafarers Law, which will be presented by Mr. Luca Tomasi, Grant Manager, ITF Seafarers Trust. Mr. Tomasi. Thank you. The ITF Seafarers Trust Prize on Seafarers Law has been awarded to Miss Sara Caruana from Malta. Thank you, Mr. Tomasi. The next prize to be awarded is the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport Malta Branch Prize for Best Performance in Maritime Transport Law, which will be presented by Ms. Miriam Camilleri, Chairperson of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport Malta Branch. Ms. Camilleri. The Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport Malta Branch Prize for Best Performance in Maritime Transport Law has been awarded to Lieutenant Dagoberto Ramon Astudillo from Argentina. No photos? Wait, don't run. Thank you, Ms. Camilleri. The next prize to be awarded is the REMPEC Marine Environment Law Prize, which will be presented by Captain Joseph Zerafa, Interim Head of Office, the Regional Marine Pollution Emergency Response Center for the Mediterranean Sea. Captain Zerafa? The REMPEC Marine Environment Law Prize has been awarded to Miss Cynthia Rebecca Mutonyi from Uganda. He can't. Thank you, Captain Zerafa. The last prize to be awarded is the CMI Prize for Best Overall Performance, which will be presented by Professor Norman Martinez, Director IMLI. Before, however, Professor Martinez presents the CMI Prize, Dr. Anne Fenech, the President of CMI, would like to address you via a short video message. Alex?
Good morning, Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Malta, Dr. Vella, Your Excellency, Secretary General of the IMO, Mr. Kit Acknowledgments, Director of IMLI, Professor Norman Martinez, dearest students, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me, as President of the Comité Maritime International, great pleasure to be here with you this morning, albeit virtually. And I do apologize for not being there in person. However, I had already accepted an invitation to give the keynote address at the Associazione Italiana di Diritto Marittimo, the Italian Maritime Law Association in Genova, on Friday the 29th, which is yesterday, well before I received the invitation to attend this year's graduation ceremony, which I normally never miss. But here I am in this very brief virtual address. And of course, we are here today as the culmination date of many, many, many months and weeks of hard work and preparation by our dearest students attending the International Maritime Law Institute. And of course, it gives the CMI the greatest of pleasure to be closely associated with the International Maritime Law Institute and to be able to assist the Institute with the provision of lecturers, financial assistance, and of course, this prize to the best student for overall performance. IMLI and the students are very close to the heart of the Comité Maritime International. And the reason for that is because IMLI and what IMLI has done over its hugely successful years of existence is really put into practice the very raison d'etre of the Comité Maritime International, a comité which, as you know, was established in 1897, responsible for the drafting of the majority of international maritime conventions, with its very raison d'etre being the unification of international maritime law. And what better means of unifying international maritime law than to have an institution like the International Maritime Law Institute, which gathers within it every year students from the four corners of the world who are exposed to every possible maritime law subject. And what better way is there to aim towards the unification of international maritime law than the education of students from all over the world pursuing a course of studies in maritime law. So today is a very happy occasion. It is a very happy occasion to you, dearest students, who I have had the great privilege of sharing some good time with you through the lectures. I have had the privilege of lecturing you on a number of occasions, and of course, a very, very special day for the parents and the families of you, dearest students, who I am sure have supported you through this incredible journey. So now, without further ado, I would really like to leave it up to the director, Professor Norman Martinez, to announce the winner of the best overall performance. And of course, the CMI prize for the best overall performance attracts with it a rather special prize, which is that the student will be invited to attend the next Comité Maritime International colloquium, which will be held in Gothenburg next year, between the 23rd and the 25th of May 2024. And I personally look forward to welcoming the prize winner to next year's colloquium. Thank you very much indeed.
Ready, sir? The CMI prize for the best overall performance has been awarded to Commander Anup Padman Parotil from India. Sir, we are going for the honoris causa. Shall I invite the Secretary General? Secretary General, please. Thank you. We now turn to the conferment of our two honorary degrees. The first is the title of Doctor of Laws in International Maritime Law honoris causa on Mr. James Terence Harrison. Mr. Harrison, please. They did it wrong. I have the honor to read the motivation. Conferment of the title of Doctor of Laws in International Maritime Law, honoris causa, on James Terence Harrison. Whereas the IMO, International Maritime Law Institute, recognizes the merits of James Terence Harrison, who has given lifelong service to the harmonization, dissemination, and implementation of international maritime law, who, for over 30 years, served as Group Legal Director of the Lloyd's Register Group, thereby contributing to the development and implementation of international maritime safety and environmental standards, who since 2016 has been appointed Ambassador of the Lloyd's Register Foundation, who as Vice Chairman of the IMLI Governing Board has been instrumental to the good governance of the IMO International Maritime Law Institute, who as Chairman of the IMLI Financial and Human Resources Committee has relentlessly contributed to the work of the IMO International Maritime Law Institute, who has generously contributed to the welfare of the IMO International Maritime Law Institute through lecturing in the Institute's master's programs and by enabling for many years the Institute's graduates to visit the main office of the Lloyd's Register Group, thereby allowing them to get first-hand experience on the intricacies of the work of a classification society, and thus contributing in great measure to the growing repute of the IMO International Maritime Law Institute as a center of academic excellence, who throughout the years devoted time and effort to ensure that the Lloyd's Register Trust and Foundation provided numerous fellowships that enabled maritime professionals from around the world to be trained at the IMO International Maritime Law Institute, and who constantly offers an unyielding support to the management of the IMO International Maritime Law Institute. The IMO International Maritime Law Institute acclaims James Terence Harrison a most meritorious candidate for the title of Doctor of Laws in International Maritime Law honoris causa. Thank you. I would like to invite Mr. Harrison to address the audience. I'm sorry. I would like to invite Dr. Harrison to address the audience.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, I wish to congratulate all of today's graduates. Very well done indeed. Secondly, I wish to thank Secretary General Lim, Professors Martinez and Attard, and IMLI itself for conferring on me this great academic honor, which I am delighted to receive. It has been my pleasure and privilege to serve as a governor of IMLI for over 30 years, and as vice chairman of the Board of Governors more recently, and as chairman of its Finance and Personnel Committee for over 20 years. I am very gratified to see that my fellow governor and long-serving member of the Academic Committee, Professor Marco Pavliha from Slovenia, has also been honored today with a doctorate from IMLI. Marco, you richly deserve it. My close involvement with IMLI dates back to my early professional days, working as an in-house lawyer for the Ship Classification Society, Lloyd's Register of Shipping. I could see for myself at that time that IMLI was a relatively small academic institution which deserved support internationally, and I was pleased to see Lloyd's Register fund and equip IMLI's first computer room. Also, it has given me great satisfaction over 3 decades to see Lloyd's Register and then the Lloyd's Register Foundation provide 3 scholarships per year for deserving IMLI students. There is a strong symbiotic relationship which exists between the IMO, flag states, ship classification societies, and ship owners. And IMLI has been instrumental in providing our ship regulators of the future with even better understanding of that vital working relationship between these major maritime protagonists. Most recently, I've been very pleased to see that my recommendation for a new, bigger and state-of-the-art lecture theatre to be built at IMLI, with the significant help of the Maltese government, is becoming a reality in the very near future. My fascination with ships and shipping dates back to my days as a young boy playing with my friends on the banks of the Manchester Ship Canal, which joins the inland cities of Manchester and Salford to the seaport of Liverpool. My interest in maritime law was kindled when I wrote my own law degree thesis some 43 years ago on public international law relating to oil pollution from ships. In addition to my involvement with IMLI, I have served on the steering committee of the London Shipping Law Centre and on working parties of the Comité Maritime International. I realise that I've been extremely fortunate in my choice of career path because it has afforded me the opportunity to study and practice international maritime law around the world. And there is no better place on earth to study this fascinating subject than here at IMLI in Malta. Finally, I wish to thank my wife, who is here today, Dr. Maria Flynn, Research Fellow in the Psychology Department at Westminster University. Maria has always supported and encouraged my close involvement with IMLI, and although we will now have 2 doctors in our house in London, Maria will remind me regularly that she had to write a long dissertation and undergo a grueling oral examination in order to earn hers. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Dr. Harrison. We now turn to the conferment of the title of Doctor of Laws in International Maritime Law honoris causa on Professor Dr. Marco Pavliha. I have the honor to read the motivation. Conferment of the title of Doctor of Laws in International Maritime Law honoris causa on Marco Pavliha. Whereas the IMO International Maritime Law Institute recognizes the merits of Marco Pavliha, who has given lifelong service to the harmonization, dissemination, progressive development, and codification of international maritime law, who has written numerous maritime law books and countless contributions to highly regarded journals in English and Slovenian languages, who, through his work at the Comité Maritime International, the Slovenian Maritime Law Association, and other international fora, has greatly contributed to the harmonization, progressive development, and codification of international maritime law, who has inspired legal thinking by virtue of his decades of teaching of commercial, transport, and insurance law at numerous universities, particularly the University of Ljubljana, where he has held the position of Vice Dean for Research and Development in the Faculty of Maritime Studies and Transportation, who has been instrumental to the work of the IMO, International Maritime Law Institute, through his active contribution to the IMLI Governing Board and the IMLI Academic Committee, where he has been a member for many years, who has, since 1998, dedicated his time and efforts towards the IMO International Maritime Law Institute annually, delivering lectures on various topics relating to the law of marine insurance, thus contributing to the continued development of the IMO International Maritime Law Institute as a center of academic excellence for the teaching of international maritime law and its progressive development and codification. The IMO International Maritime Law Institute acclaims Marco Pavliha a most meritorious candidate for the title of Doctor of Laws in International Maritime Law honoris causa. Thank you, Secretary General. Thank you, Director. I would like to invite Professor Dr. Honoris Causa Marco Pavliha to address the audience. Congratulations.
Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Malta, George Vela, Your Excellency, Secretary General Kita Klim, Ministers, Governors, Director Professor Norman Martinez, Judge and former Director Professor David Attard, Dr. Jim Harrison, IMLI staff, visiting fellows, graduates, distinguished guests, friends, and colleagues. It was actually the same wise man Professor Martinez was mentioning, who said that a good speech must have three qualities: a very short introduction, even shorter conclusion, and not much in between. I will try to take into account that, especially in order to keep my promise to my dear wife, Esther, who happens to be a judge. So you can imagine that I am under constant judicial control. Yes, the wives. My story with IMLI goes back more than 30 years. Sometime in 1991, during my doctoral studies at McGill Faculty of Law in Montreal, my mentor, the legendary Professor William Tetley, had advised me to contact the new rising academic institution in Malta, which, according to his words, could probably use some fresh blood. I wrote a nice letter to another Canadian, William O'Neill, then Secretary General of the IMO, who replied politely that while there were no current vacancies which matched my particular specialization, my dossier would be retained on the roster and for future reference in case suitable openings arose. After returning to my homeland Slovenia, which in the meantime became an independent country, I sent a letter to Professor Attard, then the director of the institute, whose response was a bit Hollywoodian, something like, "Please do not call us, we will call you." I almost forgot about this when I received another letter from him, this time inviting me kindly to deliver my first set of lectures on marine insurance law in the forthcoming academic year. The die was cast and I was ready to embark on a fantastic journey aboard a ship named IMLI. I arrived to the beautiful Mediterranean jewel called Malta on a sunny Sunday in early January 1999 and was greeted by Dr. Ivan Vela, who was my first IMLI colleague, impeccable tourist guide and host. Next day, just before my introductory lecture, I was saddened to learn that Mrs. Attard's mother passed just a few days ago, and the funeral would take place in the afternoon. I attended the services in order to show respect and to express my deepest condolences to David and Charmaine, whom I met for the first time in those sorrowful circumstances. We have become good friends, and ever since, everything turned out as it was meant to happen. About the same time, I also met Norman Martinez, who did not only graduate from the institute, but also fell in love with another student, Marika. They've got married and brought up two smart and beautiful children, Daniel and Michaela. It is amazing how IMLI functions perfectly also beyond maritime law, for instance, in the field of potential marital law. Throughout the years, my young friend Norman has become a doctor and eminent professor of law, and a year ago, a new director of the institute, which was indeed a very logical choice given his vast knowledge and experience. When I started lecturing at IMLI, there were around 20 students who were cramped in a tiny classroom and had at their disposal only one joint computer room with internet. In the following years, the accommodation and teaching facilities have been completely renovated and the number of students has tripled. The commendable progression and success of the Institute has been regularly confirmed by the best universities and also by the General Assembly of the United Nations, who acknowledges consistently its reputation as a center of excellence for the education and training in international maritime law. My teaching at IMLI for almost 25 years and participating at its governance and academic growth has been an extremely fulfilling experience. I have met hundreds of students and excellent experts from around the globe, and it is probably the only place on earth bringing together so many cultures, religions, languages, moral values, ethics, and legal experience in order to achieve a better and more harmonized unification of maritime law and the law of the sea. As Professor Tetley used to say, maritime law constitutes a third legal system, an enriched compound of common law and civil law, based predominantly on international agreements, the purpose of which he described by three principles: uniformity of law, certainty of law, and justice. I would humbly add that whilst maritime law is primarily the instrument to regulate shipping, it has to be implemented by women and men, so it has to be applied in an ethical manner. These principles are indeed the moving spirit of IMLI. Until politicians only speak about the importance of ethics and intercultural dialogue, the Institute is just doing it. I am continuously impressed by the broad knowledge, worldwide respectability, and hospitality of the members of the faculty. Professor Attard, a learned scholar, long-standing director of the Institute, judge, and the man of many other important jobs, has been succeeded by Professor Martinez, who is not only a very talented lawyer, teacher, writer, and manager, but also one of the fittest international maritime Ironmen in the world. Yes. He is assisted by several mostly capable right hands belonging to Mrs. Elda Belia, the Dimpon Foundation professors, assistant lecturers, and the dedicated supporting staff. Your Excellency, Secretary General, Director Professor Martinez, governors, and members of the Academic Committee, thank you heartily for your unanimous approval of the conferment upon me of the degree of Doctor of International Maritime Law, honoris causa. This prestigious award means a lot and even more to me because it comes from my international academic family. I feel privileged, honored, and happy, and shall continue serving IMLI and the rule of international maritime law with even greater enthusiasm. Here at our IMLI, we do not educate only minds, but also hearts. We are perhaps unconsciously inspired by the UNESCO 5 pillars of education for the 21st century, which are the following: learning to know, learning to do, learning to live together, learning to be, and learning to become. We are training the maritime leaders of tomorrow. We are neither from the east or the west. No boundaries exist in our chests. We are not from the south or from the north, but rather wisdom and kindness move us forth. We all learn and smile in the same language. So long live IMLI, may it grow and flourish for many years to come. Thank you. And of course, my dear Judge Esther, this is for you.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Honoris Causa Pavliha. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take this opportunity to express, on behalf of the Institute's faculty, and all staff that is sitting there at the back, our warmest congratulations to the graduates. I would like to invite the newly crowned graduates, our honored guests, President Vella, Secretary General, Ministers, Permanent Secretary, members of the governing board, donors, to please join the graduates, Professor Martinez and staff, in a group photo, and thereafter that will be followed by a reception. But, as Professor Martinez said, this is a year of firsts. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to bring the academic year 2023 to a close.